Okay, so this is the third type of recording type of rain gauge station. So this is siphon rain gauge station. Okay, so one advantage, as I explained in the previous slides, is because it can self empty itself. Okay, so this is most advanced, what I can say, rain gauge station in terms of recording type what we have. Okay, so now let us first again understand the construction, and then we'll go for the working of this. Okay, so first again we have this ring and this particular receiver. Okay, now you can check out the width of this particular opening is 203 centimeters, that is 2.03 meters. It is quite larger than the previous two what we have seen. The reason for that is here we have much more mechanism for self emptying type of sections to be done. Okay, so that's why this particular rain gauge station is much larger than the previous one. Okay, and even the height you can check out from the ground level, even though this entire setup is placed on ground only, you can check out here, but the height of this particular opening will be 750 centimeters, that is 7.5 meters, that is going to be there. Okay, so that is nothing but the entire height of this rain gauge station. Here we have this ring on top, that is your receiver. Then we have this funnel. Okay, and through this funnel basically the water is going to enter into this first chamber, what we are going to call it as filter chamber. Okay, this is a filter chamber. So what they have done is we don't want to get any kind of debris or dusts or any leaves which are floating around into the atmosphere to enter into this particular channel. So that's why what we have done is we have put a filter in this siphon type of rain gauge station. So this will make sure that none of the debris or any other suspended or settlable solids that are going to enter into this particular chamber. So that's why this entire chamber is called as filter chamber, and this is a dotted line is nothing but the filter that we are going to have. Now this particular filter from this funnel, what the water is received through the filter and through the filter chamber, it is now going to enter into something called as float chamber. Okay, please try to listen to these. From water from the funnel, okay, it will come through the filter. After filtering it out, it enters into one more chamber called as float chamber. It is called as what? Float chamber. Okay, so in this float chamber the water is going to stay. Now apart from that, if I check out, so in this float chamber we have something called as a float. We have something called as a float. So this float, you can imagine a simplest way what I can tell you is in your water closet or in your toilets or bathrooms, basically you have that flush tank. So that flush tank, generally the name for that technical name for that flush tank is nothing but the cistern. Okay, so inside that cistern, you can imagine once you press that flush button, okay, so only a fixed quantity of water is going to enter into your toilet as a flushing mechanism, right? So on top of that, you can, if you open that cistern, you can see some ball and pinion arrangement which is going to be there, right? So that ball is going to float to a certain point. So once it reaches that, automatically that water filling will stop, right? So even the water flushing is going to stop. So the similar kind of float is going to be available in this chamber. So you can compare that cistern with this float chamber basically. Okay, now you can check out this float is connected to some mechanism over here. You can check out, it is connected to some mechanism, and again this mechanism is connected to a pen. You can check out here, it is connected to a pen over here. The movement of this float again is transferred to the movement of the pen. So this is what we have. Next again we have this chart mounted. So this is nothing but the chart. Right now these square blocks what you are seeing, and apart from that this is again rotated by a clock. So clock mechanism is there. So as I have explained with respect to the previous weighing bucket type of rain gauge station, the similar type of process is even going to happen over here. So again, instead of that spring action connected to a pen, and then this chart is there, then the clock driven movement is there. So the entire same setup is also present in this siphon type of rain gauge station, but the only difference is here it is connected to the movement of the float. Instead of movement of a spring, this is what it is being set up for. Okay, now after this again we have one additional setup. So this entire thing that right now what you are seeing, this is nothing but the siphon. Inside this pipe what we have is nothing but the siphon, and then this entire chamber, additional chamber, we are going to call that as siphon chamber. So with this siphon chamber itself, actually we are going to empty the contents of this a rain gauge station. So that is what is required. Okay, so again I'll repeat, we have the receiver from where the rainfall will be collected, then we have the funnel through which it is the rainfall is collected, and it is passed through a filter to avoid any entry of debris or suspended particles. Then this water will enter into this float chamber, and in this float chamber we have something called as a float, and this float is attached to a mechanism which is connected to a pen, and again this pen will mark or draw a graph on a clock driven chart which is going to be there as a setup. Okay, apart from that, in the side of this float chamber connected to that, so this float chamber is connected to the siphon chamber. You can check out this opening over here. Okay, and beside we have this siphonage action part, what I can say, chamber that is going to be there. So this is with respect to the construction of this siphon rain gauge station. Now the next part is how it is going to work up. So let us just try to explain that. Water enters from the top, okay, through this filter. So imagine this what I can say, purple color line what I am showing is having some impurities or suspended solid. So once it passes through this what I can say, filter, then this water is going to become pure, or else the suspended particles are going to be held up in the filter, and only the remaining clear water is going to enter from this opening to this particular float chamber. It is going to enter to this float chamber. Now the next thing what happens is, again whenever the float is at its bottommost position, when the float is at its bottommost position, again the connection what we have with the pen mechanism. So this is the pen which is there, this is the pen which is there. Okay, so this is going to mark at the 0, that is your x-axis. So again here also in this chamber as we have shown, so x-axis will be your time, okay, and y-axis will be your cumulative rainfall that is going to occur. So exactly what it was there in the earlier case. Okay, so when the float will be at its bottommost position, the pen is going to mark at the 0 point in that particular clock driven drum. I hope it is clear. Now once the water starts to enter or being collected from this receiver and through filter it is coming, then what will happen, the water level will start to increase in the float chamber. Okay, and one more thing that you need to remember is, since float chamber and the siphon chamber are connected with the opening over here, so that's why the water level in the float chamber as well as in the siphon chamber is going to remain same. So as and when the water level in the float chamber will increase, even the water level in the siphon chamber is going to increase, because they are connected over here. Okay, now as and when the float chamber starts to fill up, then what will happen, this floats will start to move up, and this particular movement of upward direction is again converted into the pen movement in the upward direction. I hope I am clear for you. The movement of this float in the upward direction is also being transferred to the movement of pen in the upward direction. So that's why initially if it has marking over here, in the second instant as and when the water will starts to fill up, imagine for 50% filling of that chamber, it has marked somewhere over here. Okay, now as and when this again moves up, as and when the again water fills up in this float chamber, even the siphonage chamber will starts to fill up as well as the float chamber, as I have explained. So similarly the maximum level, imagine say it is over here. Okay, so at this point, when the entire float chamber has filled up and the float is at its topmost position, whenever the float is at its topmost position, at that point of time, imagine this is the point at which the graph or a pen is being marked out. Okay, when the float chamber is full, okay, whenever the float chamber is full, even the siphon chamber is going to be full. Even the siphon chamber is going to get filled up. Now, so once it reaches its maximum value, then what actually happens is automatically the entire contents of this float chamber will be emptied through this siphon. Okay, I'll repeat myself. Once the entire float chamber is filled up with water, okay, so this particular water will be automatically emptied by the siphonage chamber or through siphonage process. Okay, so let us check out how this siphonage is going to come up. Okay, so before I explain with respect to that, first let me clarify what do you mean by siphon action or what do you mean by siphonage. Okay, so for that, the simple example what I can provide you is, imagine you have most of you might have done this, okay, in your houses. Okay, so if you have water over here, imagine this is a tank, water tank. Okay, and if you want to take out the water from this water tank through a pipe, you don't have any pump or anything of that sort, so at that time what you are going to do, you usually tend to put this pipe into the water. Okay, one edge will be inside the water and from another edge you are going to put your mouth and you are going to suck the air out of this pipe. Whenever you suck the air out of this pipe, actually what actually happens, tell me? So you are actually emptying all the air which is inside this pipe and you are sucking it in. And whenever you are sucking this air outside from the inside of this pipe, you are actually creating vacuum inside this pipe. And since this end is not exposed to the atmosphere, it is there inside this water, it is inside this water. So that's why what it does is, as and when you suck up and take out all the air which is inside the pipe, the vacuum that has been caused inside the pipe will suck up the water from this tank and it is going to continuously pull it out. So once the entire content or else entire air of this pipe has been taken out, then you are going to get a continuous flow of water till again this other end is going to become exposed to air. Till that you are going to get the water. I hope everyone might have experienced this. It is as good as you are just sucking in the air out of that pipe and you are taking the water out without utilizing any amount of energy. So this is nothing but what your siphonage action means. So the way in which the water is going to elevate from its regular atmospheric temperature pressure which is there, so this is the top level, but still your water is rising above that level and then it is coming down without utilizing any energy. So this kind of action basically we call it as a siphonage action. I hope this is clear for you. So once you understood this, okay, if you have not understood, please rewind this video and just check it out. So because you need to understand how the siphonage works before we go into the siphon drain gauge station. Okay, so this is how your siphonage is going to work. Now if I try to apply the same concept which just now I have shown over here with respect to this part of the siphonage chamber. Okay, so for that I'll again rub this and I'll try to enlarge the things. Okay, and here also I'll just rub this part, okay, so that I'll get a bit more space for the explanation. Okay, now having this in mind, now if I try to enlarge this portion, okay, check out this. I'll try to draw that without the cover. Okay, so here I am. So this is nothing but a draft look or else zoomed view of the float chamber what we have. Okay, and then this side one is nothing but the chamber of siphonage. Okay, here we have our float which is there. Okay, imagine this is our float, and again it is connected to a top portion where the pen and that rotating arrangement, everything is there, and this is the inlet for the water to enter into this chamber. Now keeping this in mind, now if I try to explain, whenever this is at its lowest or bottommost position, okay, so here we have our siphon. Okay, what I'll do is I'll even draw this. This is nothing but a siphon. Okay, let me try to find straight. Fine. So this is nothing but the siphon what I am trying to draw over here. Yeah. So this is nothing but this siphon pipe what I have drawn over here. Now if I explain it, whenever the water still is not entering, this float will be at its bottommost position, okay, and even the water level over here will be nil. So as and when the water starts to come down here, let us take this purple color, okay. So whenever the water starts to enter here, the level of the water starts to increase in this chamber. Okay, as and when the level in this chamber will increase, even the water in this particular siphonage chamber is going to increase. The reason is why here it has been connected with this opening. So opening is present, so you can check out here the opening which is there, which is present over here. So that's why the water level in this float chamber will be is equals to the water level in this siphonage chamber. So at that point of time, next thing, imagine if the water starts to continuously flow in and the rainfall is occurring, okay. So at that point of time, what will happen, the water level in this float chamber will increase, and in turn the water level even in this siphon chamber is going to increase, okay. So right now if I say it is at its middle position, okay, so with respect to that, the pen has initially it was at 0, now it has reached the medium position which is going to be there. Imagine pen has reached the middle position because of the even the float is at its middle height. Now as and when for example right now in this middle portion what I have shown, you can check out as and when the water is increasing, even the water in this siphon chamber is increasing, and right now you can check out the water depth. If I try to explain with okay, so I'll do this. So you can check out inside this green siphon pipe what I have shown, this yellow colored hatching what I am doing. So basically this is the since this is open, so I'll just try to show you. Yeah, this part is open and this part is open, okay. So this is the inlet and this is the outlet, so both are open over here. So this is a simple U-shaped pipe what we have. So now at this point of time, whenever it is in the middle position, so this amount of water is already entered into this pipe, okay, and based on that even the movement of pen is also running, so simultaneously all the works are going on. Now the next thing is, when the water again increases, let us say to full, so water in this particular chamber has risen up, so again it has reached the topmost position. So this is the top position. At that point of time, what is happening, again to the same level even the water is going to increase, water level is going to increase even this siphon chamber, okay. So now depth of water here, if I need to again highlight this, so now the depth of water on this shorter limb has risen to this level. I hope you are getting this, the water has risen to this level. So here the yellow color highlighted area what I have shown, so there is no air bubble inside that, okay, there is no air bubble inside that, whereas this is here all the air bubbles are there. Here still all the air bubbles are existing. I hope you are getting these points. So here we have the air bubble, whereas in this yellow marked color this is entirely filled with water. So now one condition you can check out here is the topmost position. If I just try to take this, okay, so the topmost position of this float will be in line with the topmost position of that particular siphon pipe. Okay, so it is constructed in such a way that the topmost position of float in the float chamber will be is equals to the topmost height of this particular what I can say this siphon pipe. So with that explanation in mind, now you can check out, once the topmost position in the float chamber is reached, it indicates what? The water has become, or else in the shorter limb, the water has reached its topmost position over here. Okay, so once it comes like this, and whenever it is completely filled up, this particular float chamber, at that point of time what will happen? Once it reaches the topmost position, I'll just change this color. Okay, now through the gravity, automatically the water which is there in the yellow color right now will enter into the downstream side, and through the gravity, okay, so this entire water will start to come down from the other side, that is the other longer limb what we have. So the water is going to come from this other side of the pipe. I hope I am clear for you. I'll repeat this once again. What has happened right now is, yeah, so as and when the float chamber has reached its topmost position, the topmost position of the float chamber will be is equals to the topmost position of this siphon pipe. So here this particular line will be same. So the topmost position of this will be in line with the siphon chamber. So that's why once the topmost position is reached, the water inside this lower limb of the pipe will also reach its topmost position. Okay, and once it reaches its topmost position, because of the gravitational force, the water which is there on the top portion, right, so it starts to fall down. Okay, whenever it starts to fall down, again it is creating a vacuum over here, as you are sucking the water from that water tank inside the pipe, right? So how that vacuum is creating, so this entire yellow colored liquid which is already there on one side, as and when it starts to fall on the other side with the green color right now what I have indicated, it creates a vacuum, and because of this vacuum, the water which is already there in the float chamber as well as siphon chamber will start to enter inside this particular lower limb. So all this water will start to enter into this lower limb, and once this flow starts, okay, once this particular flow starts, then the till the water is going to become below this particular point, below the opening point, till that point the water is automatically going to get discharged. I hope I am clear for you. I'll repeat this once again. Because of the because of the suction or vacuum that is being created because of the falling of this water from the downward limb, all the water in the float chamber as well as in the siphon chamber will start to enter from this lower or else the shorter limb of the siphon, because of which what will happen, all the water from here will enter and ultimately it is going to exit from this point. Now once it enters, okay, once it exists, now the water will starts to continuously flow into this particular siphon itself until the water level, uh, inside this both the chamber, whether it is a float chamber or the siphon chamber, will come below the entry point of this. Okay, once the water level comes below this entry point, then what will happen, the air will enter from this lower limb. Okay, and once the air enters, this vacuum which is being created will be cancelled out, and because of that again the water flow over here will be stopped. I hope I am clear. Once the siphonage action starts out, then we are going to wait, or else this siphonage action will continue till the water level inside the float chamber and the siphon chamber goes below the entry point of this short limb. Okay, once the water level goes below that, then the air will enter into this shorter limb, and because of this air which is entering, the entire vacuum which is being created will be lost, and in turn the water exiting from this particular tank will be stopped, right? So now with respect to this, what actually happens to the graph, let us check out. If I just try to draw this, okay, just a minute. Okay. Now, if I think of the graph, how it is going to be, okay, just check this out. Okay. Here it is my x-axis, here it is my y-axis, and whenever it is at initial, whenever the float chamber is empty, so here I am going to have my pen marking towards the bottom. Whenever it moves up, again I have some medium position, and then I have the topmost position whenever it fills up completely. Now, once it fills up completely, what actually happens through the siphonage action, all the water inside this will go in and come out like this, as I have explained. So at that point of time, the float will start to come down. Okay, float will start to come down. So the same movement of float coming down is represented again by this pen in terms of a line like this. Okay, so what is happening, as in when the float is filling up, you are getting these points where you are having such kind of a graph. Okay, once it completely fill up, and because of the siphonage action, if it gets emptied, so immediately that float will come down, so that itself is indicated in the graph something like this. And again, if the rainfall continues, you are going to have the readings where it is going to reach its topmost point, and once it reaches the topmost point, again the siphonage action will start, and then your again graph is going to come down like this. So this is basically how the rainfall mass curve is going to look whenever you are using a siphon rain gauge station. So automatically it empties itself, and that emptiness is being shown with a vertical line as it is. Okay, so this is basically the working principle of rain gauge siphon rain gauge station. So here you can check out the major important things are going to be what here you are going to check out with respect to the how this self-emptying phenomenon is going to take place, how this self-emptying phenomenon is going to take place. So usually whenever I show it with a figure or something, right, so in this particular part, I have shown this level of opening at a bit higher level just for the sake of explanation, but usually that will be a bit lower. So once the lower level of this here you can see in this figure, once right now you can check out the float is at its bottommost position, and with respect to that the opening of this pipe is there. Okay, so here what will happen, as and when the float will come to its downmost position, downwardmost position, at that time automatically the air will enter into this pipe. In turn, it is going to cause the siphonage action to stop. So this is how basically the entire siphon rain gauge station is going to work. Okay, so this is quite an important one which helps us to even empty that content. So there is no need for a person to go there regularly to check these particular things. Now here if you check out, if the rotation of the drum over here is fixed at 6 months or a year, then automatically such kind of, irrespective of whatever quantity of rainfall is occurring over here or being collected, so this will continuously operate. Okay, this will continuously come like this. So based on how many times this is going to get emptied, that many straight lines are going to be there in that rainfall mass curve. So if you add up all these things, ultimately you are going to get the total mass curve for the selected period from this rain gauge station. Okay, this is about the siphon rain gauge station, and let us check out bit of a theoretical aspects for these. In this type, as the rain is collected in the float chamber, the float moves up, which makes a pen to move on a chart wrapped clock round a clock driven drum. Okay, as I said, as the float moves, it is connected to a pen, and again that pen moves on that particular drum. When the float chamber fills up, the water in the siphons out automatically through a siphon tube kept in an interconnected siphon chamber. So what they said is the float chamber and the siphon chamber are interconnected with each other. The the clockwork revolves the drum once in 24 hours. So that can be changed. Okay, so you can have that for 24 hours, for a day, for a week, for a month, or for a 6 months, for a year, for a season. So based on that, you can basically have all these things there. The clock mechanism needs to rewind once a week when the chart wrapped around the drum is replaced. This type of gauge is usually used by IMD. So IMD is Indian Meteorological Department. Indian Meteorological Department. So here also what is going to happen is based on that, once that particular time set what you have done, whether it is a week, month, or whatever it is, so then you need to reset that clock so that again the same continuous process is going to be there for the next cycle. The weighing and float type of rain gauge can store moderate snowfall, which the operator can weigh and melt and record the equivalent depth of rain. So as I said, a person can do that, that is an operator, or you can put some antifreeze liquid into that so that automatically that ice or snow will melt into liquid. The snow can be melted in gauge itself as it is collected there by heating the system fitted or by placing a gauge with certain chemicals as calcium chloride, ethanol glycol, etc. So these are nothing but these anti-freezing agents what I have just told. So based on that, basically your entire siphon rain gauge station works over here. Okay. Fine. Now let us see this graphs how they are going to be. Okay. So this is nothing but a rainfall mass curve or a rainfall graph that you are going to get from this particular what siphon rain gauge station. Okay. So as you can see, x-axis we have time, y-axis we have cumulative rainfall. Okay, here also you can see a recording of natural siphon type of rain gauge, and here it is millimeters of rainfall. On the x-axis it is time, hours what they have given. Now first let me explain with respect to the bottom figure, then I'll go on top. Now what is happening is at time t is equals to 0, when there is no rainfall or when you have recently reset that particular system, at that point of time the reading pen will be at 0, and as and when the time continues, okay, here it is in terms of days, here they have given it for 8 days. Okay, so whenever the time continues, okay, so the pen will start to mark on this as and when the float chamber will start filling up, this particular line is going to get created. Okay, so since the clock is driving the drum, so pen usually will be fixed on its own place, only it can move up or down, but the chart, since it is rotating, it can this particular movement of pen is going this graph is going to be observed. And because of that, what will happen, as and when the rainfall is collected, the rainfall data is going to be measured and it is going to be represented over here. So once the topmost level of that particular graph or a float chamber is reached, at that time, because of the siphonage action, automatically that rainfall will start to come down. Okay, so here also you can check out the rainfall has come down. So usually it doesn't take days together. Okay, so usually for that float chamber to empty itself, it usually takes around 45 seconds or so. Okay, so within the 45 seconds the entire contents of that float chamber will be emptied. So usually this graph will not come like this, usually it will be like this only, it will be a vertical line as you are seeing in the top portion. Okay, so this is basically how that graph is going to work out. Now similarly, if I check out the top portion over here, you can see here it is only for 24 hours, 0 to 24 hours, but the amount of rainfall that is occurring, if it is very much, okay, so that time whenever you are resetting it, again it will start, it will reach to its maximum when it reaches. So here the 10 mm is maximum limit as per this graph. So once the 10 mm of water is collected, again it is going to come back down, again you are going to have your second cycle, again come back down. Here you can check out, for the initial it has taken some more hours. Okay, the time duration is, let us say, some 6 or 7 hours or so. For 10 mm to rainfall to collect, it took around 7 hours, whereas for the second cycle it has took only half, 1.5 to 2.5, so 3 hours, within 3 hours this entire setup has been there, or else, sorry, within some 5 hours, if I need to say, this cycle has completed. That is, the 10 mm of rainfall has been collected over here. Now similarly, if I go for the third cycle, this is only 4 hours, and for the fifth cycle if I go, it is only 2 hours. So basically, based on the intensity of rainfall, once that float chamber is filled up, automatically it is going to get emptied. So such kind of graphs are going to be there, as and when more rainfall is there, more number of vertical drops are going to be there. So even that vertical drop will make sure that, imagine if the vertical drop line is not straight as it is visible here, if it is something like this, then you can easily get that. So the siphonage action is not working properly. Instead of emptying this entire content within a minute, so it is taking a lot of time to even empty that. So you can check out the calibration, or you can have some maintenance done to those particular things. So this is basically how your siphonage graph, or else how the graph is going to look for a siphon type of rain gauge station. So again, this graph is nothing but the rainfall mass curve only. The graph what you are seeing is nothing but the rainfall mass curve only. But again, in details we are going to check out in the further classes. Okay, so I have a specific topic for that. So this is regarding the siphon rain gauge what we are going to have.